Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
I don't know if this is a company secret, a federal secret, a state secret, a county secret, world secret. 911 systems are not regulated by anybody. By anybody. I worked for a software company that designed this. Yeah. No regulation whatsoever. And there are states, counties, cities that don't use 911 systems. Or they're so old, they don't have updated stuff. Now, this is pre-pandemic, so that could have changed. Doubt it, but it could have changed.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
When you order steak or prime rib from Denny's and they ask you how you want it cooked, that determines how long the cook will cook it in the microwave for you.
So I worked at this HR technology company that recruiters use, and the first screening of a job application is usually done by AI, and it captures tokens, keywords related to the job. So if you're applying for a sales job, it's looking for selling, sales, business development, things like that. So if you fill up the white space of your resume with all of these tokens in white font, so it's not seen on your actual resume, it'll likely get picked up by the AI wave of the technology for your application because it's finding more keywords and it's giving you a better ranking. Boop.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
Sunglasses. Oddly enough, I worked for a couple of companies over about 4 or 5 years. Granted, it was about 15 years ago I've last worked in the industry, but relatively the story is the same. It doesn't change much. Nothing really revolutionizes. So when you go into Sunglass Hut or your Lens Crafters or Pearl Vision, you are basically buying from one manufacturer, and that's called Luxottica. They dominate, I think, 80% of the market. They, a few years ago, bought out Oakley, but Oakley still has its own production in California, so there's quality control for them, but they're one of the few. So brands like Chanel, Anne Klein, Ann Taylor, those things, they're all made in the same factory in Italy, especially if you're buying from Lens Crafters or Pearl Vision or Sunglass Hut, because they're all owned by Luxottica. So when you're looking at your frames, you're like, oh, these Anne Kleins are cute, but they're $100. And they're like, but the Chanels, oh, these Chanels, aren't they cute? But they look the same. What's the difference? And the lady would be like, oh, it's got this. Really, it doesn't have any difference. They're just upselling you so they can make their commission, because they make anywhere from 2 to 5% in those stores. Now, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. I tell you why. Because it's all made in the same factory in Italy. And you are just paying for those double C's. Chanel has no quality control over the product. The stuff is manhandled in stores. The staff are really good about keeping everything really nice and everything, but they don't get extra pairs. They're limited to how many they get. So if the display is what's there, the display is what you're going to get. Like if you went to Chanel, you wouldn't expect to buy the display. You'd expect them to get you a new bag at the back. These glasses, what you see is what you get, ladies and gents. And the only thing that might be special, quote unquote, is the fact that they will have maybe special colors just limited to the Chanel, but the Anne Kleins won't have that color because it's Anne Klein. But literally, save yourself the money. Buy the Anne Kleins, screw the double C logo. You're paying $200 for nothing. Like, come on, $200 can buy you like a wristlet or something. Just don't. Save the cash. Get the cheaper frames. Don't worry about having a name brand in your eyeglasses. The cheaper, the better. You win, and they don't.
I have worked at quite a few restaurants in New York City. Maybe 4 or maybe like 4 or 5, I think. And I promise you this. If you've been to a restaurant in Manhattan, they have rats. They have rats. I did not say mice. I'm not talking ratatouille. I'm talking Master Splinter. Big, huge rats. And you're like, well, why don't I see them? Because when rats are afraid of noise. So when you come in the morning, that's when they're there. When you open the restaurant, they're there. But then once people start moving around more, you have to like go around clanging pots and pans. And the more people show up, the more the rats stay away. But I'm telling you, especially if it's in Manhattan, especially if it's accessible from the first floor. Oh, baby. Yes. Yes, that restaurant has rats. I remember going into work on days and having to, like, you walk in the morning, you just smell that a rat has died somewhere in the walls, somewhere inside of a booth, and you can't find it. So the amount of covering up and air freshener and candles and yeah, New York City, Manhattan restaurants are nasty. And there's probably going to be a bunch of us commenting below being like, oh yeah, guaranteed. And anyone that tells you their restaurant does not have that, don't believe them.
When you make an appointment at a physician's office and you have to walk up to the front desk and tell them that you've been in the waiting room for 30 minutes past your appointment time and you haven't been brought back to an exam room and you're wondering why, more than likely is because 3 to 5 other people had that same exact appointment time. Buckle up, you're going to be there for a while.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
The entire insurance industry is the devil. They do not want to pay your claims. They will find any excuse not to pay them, including Allstate.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
I used to work at this nursing home where I was in charge of all the medicine. At night, the medicine distributor would come and pick up all the old batches of medicine. I found out that a lot of the workers were switching out the hydrocodones and putting Tylenol in there, and nobody could ever figure out who it was, and the director just kept covering it up every time. So I left.
When I worked at Edible Arrangements, all of the strawberries or pretty much anything dipped in chocolate is literally like on the verge of rotting, and they do that so they don't have to waste money buying more fruit. They just use like whatever is going to go bad because you won't be able to see it under the chocolate. And then also they take the fruit that's about to go bad that doesn't get dipped in chocolate and put it back in the boxes that they got it from originally, and then like return it to the store and say like, oh my god, we just got back and all of this is rotten. And they made me pick out all the strawberries and all the fruit that was like about to go bad and put it back into the cases to return it to like Costco or something. So don't get the chocolate covered fruit because it's gross.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
Not a huge company, but Hollywood Candy in Omaha, Nebraska, they unwrap all of the expired candy, no matter how old it is, and put it in their display case and give it a new name and display it as homemade candy. Not all of it is expired candy, but some of it, and no one will tell you. Yeah.
I used to work for a well-known weight loss company. I was a health and wellness consultant. But the gag is, I didn't have any training in weight loss management. I had a psych degree, but that was it. And they gave us about this much training in weight loss. And the rest of the training was all about sales, making that commission, making that money. And the program was a food-based program, so you come buy all your food there for the week. And low-key, the food was good. But it was expensive, bro. People were spending money. And I always felt bad because I genuinely wanted to help my clients, but I didn't really have any resource. So I would just literally Google stuff to try and help them. And shout out to some of my clients, y'all. I miss some of y'all. But really, that job just showed me that these weight loss companies, it's all about the sales for them. They don't really care about people losing weight, because if you gain the weight back, you have to come back to the program and they make more money.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
The one that I think I remember the most was working at a It's Papa John's. I worked at Papa John's, and so basically there are trays underneath like racks that you put all of the ingredients on top of the pizza on, and anything that falls into these trays underneath the racks. And basically every so often you have to lift up the racks, pick out all of the ingredients that have fallen and have now been sitting together and at room temperature, and put them back into the bin so that all of the food can be reused and they don't throw any of it away.
Chain restaurants are serving you bagged food. Like, a good amount of the food is made off-site and then vacuum sealed into bags and frozen and shipped to us. So that when we serve it to you, it's literally been in a bag that we put into boiling water for it to get hot. 90% of your soups, they were boiled in a bag. The pasta is boiled in huge batches and then put into individual serving bags and frozen. And then when you want it, they just drop that pasta into boiling water that they use over and over again. And that's how you get your pasta. All the pies that you get from Marie Callender's, Coco's, places like that, if they're cream pies, it's literally just pudding. Chocolate cream pie is just chocolate pudding. Banana cream pie is just vanilla pudding with bananas. Same with coconut cream. It costs almost nothing to make them, and then they charge like $14 or $15 for them.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
When buying contact lenses, the same contacts that you get for 3 months, 1 month, 2 weeks, and 1 day are the same lenses. But I didn't tell you that.
I used to work in the sugar industry, and I can tell you that when you go to the store and you see store brand sugar and name brand sugar on there, they're the same exact thing, usually come from the same exact factory. There is no difference in them. The same goes for your brown sugars, your powdered sugars, any of those. Same thing with other ingredients like flour and stuff like that. And also sugar labeling in the United States. In the United States, sugar comes from 2 sources, sugar cane and sugar beets. And anything that's labeled just sugar can either be beet sugar or cane sugar. So it can come from either source.